300,000 patients. And how many patients saw clear or almost clear skin in just 4 months? The kind of clearance that can last. Humira targets and blocks a specific source of inflammation that contributes to symptoms. Numbers are great, and seeing clear skin is pretty awesome too. That's what I call a body of proof.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections. Serious and sometimes fatal infections, including tuberculosis and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Want more proof? Ask your dermatologist about Humira. This is my body of proof.
CoQ10 is the #1 cardiologist-recommended supplement for heart health. Cunol, with 3 times better absorption than regular CoQ10, has the #1 cardiologist-recommended form of CoQ10. Cunol, the better CoQ10.
Introducing the new South Beach Diet. I'm Jesse James Decker, and if y'all want to know how I stay in shape, I do it with the South Beach Diet. It's keto-friendly.
Fuel your body and lose weight now.
I lost 38 pounds.
South Beach is a low-carb, high-protein, keto-friendly program that burns fat and transforms your metabolism. It's healthy weight loss, easy to follow, and it works.
I lost 30 pounds on the South Beach Diet.
I lost 42 pounds with the South Beach Diet.
I lost 25 pounds on the South Beach Diet.
Order today, and we'll rush you South Beach, plus a week of all-new Simply Fit shakes free. 20 grams of protein, probiotics, and it's keto-friendly.
I lost 30 pounds on the South Beach Diet.
Call or go online in the next 4 minutes and save 40%.
Trust me, South Beach works.
Go online or call 877-336-PALM right now and save 40% plus get probiotic keto-friendly shakes free.
This is Golden Corral's hand-cut sirloin, now topped with delicious shrimp scampi. And here's the premium butterfly shrimp and the teriyaki salmon. Get it all, plus the entire buffet for one low price. There's something for everyone at Golden Corral.
Explore the rich history of the world's second largest religion. Wondrous Worlds, Art and Islam Through Time and Place, now at Phoenix Art Museum. Explore extraordinary traditional and contemporary works hailing from 6 continents and spanning a millennium. On view now through May 26th, exclusively at Phoenix Art Museum.
And now's the time you've been waiting for. The undisputed champs, Tundra and Tacoma. And in this corner, the reigning rulers of the road. Oh, let's get ready for spring.
Not bad.
Ready for a great deal?
Let's do it!
So good.
Right now, lease a new 2019 Tacoma for just $249 a month. Or step up to a new 2019 4Runner for just $369 a month.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today.
Toyota, let's go places.
Breaking news now on that deadly plane crash in Ethiopia. 7 countries now have grounded the 737 MAX 8 plane, including the United Kingdom just this morning. It comes as pressure mounts on the FAA to stop U.S. airlines from using those same models. NBC's Tom Costello joins us now. And Tom, it's my understanding you have new information on others now joining in on this grounding of these planes. What's up?
I got to tell you, I'm struggling just to keep up. Ireland has now joined the list of countries that is grounding the 737 MAX, and several individual European countries are talking about doing the same. We are awaiting. That's what I was waiting for. France just now confirming that they are planning to ground the 737 MAX. If France does that and the UK does it, you might expect that the entire EU will do that. This follows Australia as well as Indonesia and China and a host of other countries, and a long list of individual airlines as well. 183 83 planes at the moment. 52% of the global fleet is now grounded. Really, that leaves pretty much only the U.S. fleet, the U.S. and Canadian 737 MAX fleet that is still flying. By the way, even Aeromexico has grounded their fleet. And I can tell you that moments ago, the Flight Attendants Union for American Airlines called on the CEO of American Airlines to ground the fleet. The FAA, however, has insisted all along it does not see any reason to do this. It doesn't see any data that would require that or essentially justify the action. Boeing has said all along that it believes the plane is safe. And listen, American Airlines and Southwest Airlines and United and the Canadian airlines to fly it, they all say this is a safe plane. But there is now this momentum that is rolling across the globe like we haven't seen in a long time to ground the 737 MAX until we know why. 2 730 MAX 8s crashed, the most recent one in Ethiopia and, of course, the other one in Indonesia about 5 months ago. The concern is that there may be something in common between these two accidents. We don't know. We don't know what the black boxes say. We don't know what the readout is on the black boxes. But if there is any common link, then you could imagine the FAA has already said that they will act very quickly to put the fleet down. I would stress that everybody on this side of the ocean, at least in North America, believes that the plane is safe. But, boy, it is cascading around the world very quickly.
No kidding, Tom. And you talk about that momentum, right, building not just around the world, but from the Flight Attendants Union, from, by the way, politicians on Capitol Hill. You have Mitt Romney now coming out and saying out of abundance of caution for the flying public, the FAA should ground this plane as well. Do you see at some point a tipping point here, or is it your sense that the FAA is pretty confident, pretty dug in on this idea that the data shows the plane is safe?
So 2 points. I talked to a couple of people within the airlines themselves this morning. Their demeanor clearly has changed, and they believe that, in fact, the momentum is going to be such that the FAA simply cannot withstand the public pressure and the growing public, outcry around the world to ground the plane. They believe they would not be surprised if the FAA acts. I talked to the former DOT Secretary, Ray LaHood, a short time ago, the Secretary of Transportation under President Obama, who grounded the 787 fleet when they had those batteries catching fire, you may recall. He says he would ground the 737 MAX fleet because of the lack of confidence right now worldwide.
Tom, sorry to interrupt you with that stinger. Tom Costello, thank you. We want to take you now to Boston, and we appreciate Tom's reporting here about that college entrance cheating scandal. We're about to get more information now from the feds in Boston. Let's listen.
In the largest college admissions scam ever prosecuted by the Department of Justice. We've charged 50 people nationwide with participating in a conspiracy that involved, first, cheating on college entrance exams, meaning the SAT and the ACT, and second, securing admission to elite colleges by bribing coaches at those schools to accept certain students under false pretenses. In return for bribes, these coaches agreed to pretend that certain applicants were recruited competitive athletes, when in fact the applicants were not. As the coaches knew, the students' athletic credentials had been fabricated. Overall, today we have charged 3 people who organized these scams, 2 SAT or ACT exam administrators, 1 exam proctor, 1 college administrator, 9 coaches at elite schools, and 33 parents who paid enormous sums to guarantee their children's admission to certain schools through the use of bribes and fake academic and athletic credentials. A central defendant in the scheme, William Singer, will plead guilty today to charges of racketeering conspiracy, money laundering conspiracy, conspiracy to defraud the United States, and obstruction of justice. Singer allegedly ran a college counseling service and something called the Key Worldwide Foundation. Between roughly 2011 and 2018, wealthy parents paid Singer about $25 million in total to guarantee their children's admission to elite schools, including Yale, Georgetown, Stanford, the University of Southern California, the University of Texas, UCLA, and Wake Forest. Beyond enriching himself, Singer used that money to bribe college officials, Division I coaches, college exam administrators, all to secure admission for the children of his clients, not on their merits, but through fraud. Singer's foundation purported to be a charitable organization, but was actually a front Singer used to launder the money that parents paid him, of which he would then take a portion and dole it out as bribes to coaches and others. More specifically, with respect to the SAT and ACT scheme, numerous parents paid Singer between $15,000 and $75,000 to have someone either take the exam for their child or to correct their child's answers afterward, all to achieve a sufficiently high pre-agreed score on those tests. Singer accomplished this by paying defendant Mark Riddell, also charged today, to take or correct the exams, and by bribing 2 exam administrators, defendants Nikki Williams and Igor Dvorsky, to allow this to happen on their watch. Singer paid Williams about $5,000 per student and Dvorsky about $10,000 per student. To facilitate the scam, Singer counseled parents to take their children to a therapist and get a letter saying that because of purported learning disabilities or other issues, the child needed additional time to complete the ACT or the SAT. Once the companies that administer those exams had agreed to the extra time, Singer arranged for the child to take the exam individually with one of the proctors he had bribed, or one of the administrators he had bribed, either at a location in Houston or a location in California. Beyond the SAT and ACT scam, parents also paid Singer money that he then used to bribe coaches and administrators to designate their children as recruited athletes for various schools. In return for bribes, coaches would use slots that their schools had allocated to them for the recruitment of athletes, instead to take the applicants Singer had identified. Singer worked with the parents to fabricate impressive athletic profiles for their kids, including fake athletic credentials or honors, or fake participation in elite club teams. In many instances, Singer helped parents take staged photographs of their children engaged in particular sports. Other times, Singer and his associates used stock photos that they pulled off the internet, sometimes photoshopping the face of the child onto the picture of the athlete and submitting it in support of the applications for these children to elite schools. In one example, the head women's soccer coach at Yale, in exchange for $400,000, accepted an applicant as a recruit for the Yale women's team, despite knowing that the applicant did not even play competitive soccer. The student was in fact admitted, and afterward, the student's family paid Singer $1.2 million for that service. In addition to the standardized test scam and the college admissions scam, Singer also arranged for someone to take online high school classes in place of certain students, so that those students could submit higher grades as part of their overall college application packages. The parents' payments to Singer for these services were made, at least in part, as charitable contributions to the sham charity that Singer had set up. At his direction, employees of the charity sent Singer's clients acknowledgement letters, falsely confirming that no goods or services had been exchanged for the purported donation. This enabled the parents to not only mask the true nature of the payment, but also take the tax write-off at the end of the year. Today, we have charged 33 parents nationwide with hiring Singer's group to defraud testing companies and/or various universities. These parents are a catalog of wealth and privilege. They include, for example, CEOs of private and public companies, successful securities and real estate investors, 2 well-known actresses, a famous fashion designer, and the co-chairman of a global law firm. Based on the charges unsealed today, all of them knowingly conspired with Singer and others to help their children either cheat on the SAT or ACT and/or buy their children's admission to elite schools through fraud. Singer's clients paid him anywhere between $100,000 and $6.5 million for this service, though the majority paid between $250,000 and $400,000 per student. This case is about the widening corruption of elite college admissions through the steady application of wealth combined with fraud. There can be no separate college admissions system for the wealthy, and I'll add that there will not be a separate criminal justice system either. Every year, hundreds of thousands of hardworking, talented students strive for admission to elite schools. As every parent knows, these students work harder and harder every year in a system that appears to grow more and more competitive every year. And that system is a zero-sum game. For every student admitted through fraud, an honest, genuinely talented student was rejected. The parents charged today, despite already being able to give their children every legitimate advantage in the college admissions game, instead chose to corrupt and illegally manipulate the system for their benefit. We're not talking about donating a building so that a school's more likely to take your son or daughter. We're talking about deception and fraud, fake test scores, fake athletic credentials, fake photographs, bribed college officials. As you can see from the various charging documents unsealed today in this case, the investigation was complex and extremely labor-intensive. 2 defendants will plead guilty this afternoon. As I mentioned before, William Singer will plead guilty at 2:30 today in this courthouse. And John Vandemore, who is the head sailing coach at Stanford University, will also plead guilty today at 3 p.m. I want to thank the 4 prosecutors in my office who were assigned to this investigation for their extraordinary work on this case. The lead prosecutor on this matter, Eric Rosen, is up here with me today. I also want to thank the FBI and the IRS for their usual professionalism and skill in the investigation and takedown of this case. The takedown today involved over 200 federal agents nationwide who arrested 50 people in 6 states and on both coasts. With that, I'll hand things over to Joe Bonavolonta, who is the special agent in charge of the Boston office of the FBI. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Once again, my name is Joe Bonavolonta, and I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI Boston Division. Operation Varsity Blues culminated early this morning when approximately 300 special agents from the FBI and the IRS criminal investigations set out to arrest 46 individuals across the country for their roles in an international college admissions bribery and money laundering scam. So far, 38 individuals have been safely taken into custody, and 7 are working towards surrender. 1 is being actively pursued. Another 4 are expected to plead guilty here in Boston, 2 later today, and 2 in the coming weeks. We believe all of them, parents, coaches, and facilitators, lied, cheated, and covered up their crimes at the expense of hardworking students and taxpayers everywhere. Our investigation began last May after we uncovered evidence of a large-scale, elaborate fraud while working an unrelated undercover operation. Following 10 months of intense investigative efforts using a variety of sophisticated techniques, the FBI uncovered what we believe is a rigged system, robbing students all over the country of their right at a fair shot to getting into some of the most elite universities in this country, such as Yale, Stanford, and Georgetown. We believe everyone charged here today had a role in fostering a culture of corruption and greed that created an uneven playing field for students trying to get into these schools the right way through hard work, good grades, and community service. Unfortunately, what many students didn't know was that the odds had already been stacked against them by corrupt practices, including but not limited to bribery, falsification of athletic profiles, and near-perfect SAT and ACT scores that were fraudulently obtained on behalf of other students, when in reality they were far from perfect. Make no mistake, this is not a case where parents were acting in the best interests of their children. This is a case where they flaunted their wealth, sparing no expense, to cheat the system so they could set their children up for success with the best education money could buy, literally. Some spent anywhere from $200,000 to $6.5 million for guaranteed admission. Their actions were, without a doubt, insidious, selfish, and shameful. And the real victims in this case are the hardworking students who did everything they could to set themselves up for success in the college admissions process, but ended up being shut out because far less qualified students and their families simply bought their way in. What's also cause for concern is how this was even allowed to happen in the first place. Evidence we've obtained shows that trusted coaches and administrators manipulated the systems their universities had in place to accommodate students with fake athletic credentials, some of whom did not even play the sports they were recruited to play. It's a sham that strikes at the core of the college admissions process at universities across the country. And the alleged mastermind behind it, Rick Singer, offered a variety of cheating options as part of a widespread conspiracy to enrich himself, while also facilitating cheating on SAT and ACT exams, recruiting applicants onto competitive athletic teams in exchange for bribes, and concealing the nature and source of those bribes. There's no telling what their school of thought was while carrying out this conspiracy, but today's arrests should be a warning to others. You can't pay to play, you can't lie and cheat to get ahead, because you will get caught. This was a complex and demanding investigation, and it was charged accordingly. The use of the RICO statute signals the magnitude of the criminal enterprise and the seriousness of the crimes. I would like to personally recognize the investigators and prosecutors who pursued this case. However, our work is not done. Our investigation continues, and we will continue to find and stop those who aren't playing by the rules, because as you can see in this case, the impact on everyday people is real, has consequences, and broad-ranging effect. My sincerest appreciation for the tremendous work done by the United States Attorney and his team, as well as my thanks to Special Agent in Charge Christina O'Connell and her folks at the IRS Criminal Investigation for their continued partnership and support. This was truly a team effort. Thank you.
Well, first I got to tell you more about socialism. I didn't know. I really thought I was a minute ahead of time. Let me tell you something. Look at the Soviet Union. Look at Venezuela. Look at Cuba. Look at present-day places that we can see. Look at the lights turned off in Venezuela. Should be one of the richest countries. We see this system has created wealth and prosperity.
After 1919, the investment and the exportation of Venezuelan oil increased tremendously. By 1922, Venezuela became an important supplier of oil in the world. That's important. And the biggest reserves of oil were discovered in the Lake of Maracaibo. During World War II, Venezuela was the most secure provider of oil to the United States. Once again, during World War II, Venezuela was the most secure provider of oil to the United States. None of this has anything to do with socialism. This has to do with oil. And this has to do with the United States' want for that oil. This has to do with Hannity's buddies, Duke Energy, and the Koch brothers. This is who this is what Hannity is preaching now. This is not about socialism. Oh, and that Ocasio-Cortez brought up the Green New Deal to save the planet for the children and the grandchildren that we are going to leave behind. That doesn't matter to Hannity. Hannity must shrill for his boys, and his boys are Duke Energy and the Koch brothers. That's got nothing to do with socialism. Venezuela borrowed off that money. Oil, the bottom of oil fell out. Venezuela couldn't pay, enter the United States, trumped up charges, throw some sanctions, you won't give us the oil. And by the way, this is the United States beef with Chavez. Chavez just simply would not allow the United States to come over and set up shop. It's got nothing to do with socialism. And the funniest thing is, or maybe interesting, on Hannity's IQ about world events and foreign policy, he lumped Russia in there as a socialistic country. My Lord, I thought that Russia was a communist country. Hannity, you know, when you lie so much, the lies begin to be truth, and then you can make up your own truth.